Hey guys, so as promised, in this video I am comparing the Rokinon 21mm F1.4 to the Sony 20mm F2.8 pancake lens. So first, let's take a look at both of these up close. Here they are side by side, and there is a large size difference between these two. Obviously, the Sony pancake lens is just tiny, so it does not take up much space at all. The Rokinon lens is not humongous, but it is significantly longer, larger. Here is the front on both and around the back. Sony lens does have autofocus, the Rokinon does not, so that's something to note. Both lenses have focus rings. The Rokinon focus ring is a lot smoother and a lot larger than the one on the Sony Pancake. Here's what happens when you mount them on your camera. The Rokinon is a nice looking lens. It matches well. I like the red-orange accent. The Sony Pancake is just smaller, so this is a lot easier to just throw into a pocket versus you might have to throw this into a camera bag. So something to be aware of with these two. So now let's take a look at some sample photos side by side from both of these lenses. So this is where I'm going to begin, and this first shot is the Rokinon lens on the left. You can tell because there is no lens info below the settings at the top, versus the Sony 20mm Pancake. You can see the settings there. Now what I did in these shots is I just shot both lenses wide open. I did manually focus both of them, 2-second delay, on a tripod. These are raw files, all of that fun stuff. And I'm not going to go too in-depth with this side by side because a lot of people complain, well, you're shooting one lens stop down versus one lens wide open. I just want to show you guys this real quick. If I zoom in to the face, my wife here, you can clearly see that the Rokinon lens wide open at f1.4 is on par, if not slightly sharper than the Sony 20mm Pancake wide open. And you get a nicer, creamier bokeh. Now here is a more fair comparison. This is the Rokinon stop down to f2.8 at the same ISO and shutter speed settings. This is what happens. Significantly sharper. So the Rokinon here is noticeably sharper and clearer. And what else is noticeable here is the colors. Now I thought because the Pancake lens was a Sony lens, the colors would be better, but they are not. Look at the sky, you can see that it's more blue here, and then if you look at the leaves, they are more green. So there's a bit more contrast with the Rokinon lens. Let's take a look at another shot here. This is just some shrubbery, a lot of detail here. That's why I take pictures of leaves and trees a lot. Now this shot is stop down. Yeah, it's at f8 on both lenses. And again, you could see the difference in color, green versus kind of this lighter green. As far as sharpness is concerned, I still have to say the Rokinon lens is sharper. Not much chromatic aberration here to compare, and then as you go into the corners, kind of same thing. It's still a little bit sharper. Let's take a look at this corner. Yeah, same story. This corner. What I've noticed with the Rokinon lens is it's very consistent when it comes to focusing. So it focuses on a flat plane, so the corners and the center are sharp at the same time, which is pretty rare, unfortunately, with most lenses. A lot of the time you get an image that's sharp in the center and then the corners are soft until you stop it down. Next shot here is another kind of mid-portrait. Let's take a look. This one is done at f4 on both, and so you get a little bit closer to the subject with the 21mm focal length. And yeah, it's noticeably sharper here, a little bit softer. I mean, the 20mm isn't terrible here, but it is noticeably softer. The hair, you can tell, small detail. Let's take a look at bokeh is about the same. And then just for fun, I want to take a look at the brick behind here. Yeah, sharper here without a doubt. Next shot here, I manually focused on this edge right here of this house where the brick is. So we'll take a look and see which one of these two is sharper. Both of these shots were done at f8 again. And again, we see the same exact story. Look at the detail in the brick and the siding versus the 20mm, pretty significant. I saw some very cool flaring. Just the way that the sun rays come through with the Rokinon lens, I think is really nice. Let me zoom in and show you what that looks like. So this is just a small sample of what you get. You get this light in the form of these distinct rays. You get a little bit of that with the 20mm, but it's nowhere near as nice. Obviously there's some flaring here with both lenses here, and then the green flaring here. Let's take a look at center, sharpness, and detail. Both of these shots were done stop down at f8. Pretty similar here. I don't see very much chromatic aberration yet. I'd still say that the Rokinon has a little bit more detail. Last shot I'll compare of these two. This one is stop down to f2.8 again. This is a close-up portrait. Notice the colors. The Rokinon just has really, really good colors. Let's zoom in. And if that is not an apparent side by side, I don't know what is. Just look at the details in the eyes are perfectly in focus, whereas it's a little bit soft here out to the hair. Huge difference. Look at that detail. Look at that softness. Bokeh is about the same for both. I mean, look at that difference right there. It's huge at f2.8. So obviously the Rokinon is stop down. I know that gives the Rokinon an advantage, but the thing is if you're gonna shoot at f2.8, you're gonna shoot at f2.8. There are gonna be more cases where you're gonna stop down the Rokinon than you're gonna stop down the Sony Pancake. So you need to compare lenses side by side at the same f-stop. And so that's what I'm doing here. And like I showed you in the first picture over here, even wide open, comparing both of these lenses, the Rokinon is still the sharper lens. So this last shot, just for fun, I wanted to throw in the kit lens and compare that to the 20mm Pancake, because there was maybe one person in the comments in one of the videos that was asking for a comparison between these two. And my conclusion is that these two lenses perform almost exactly the same. So we'll take a look here to see if that holds true. Both of these shots are at f8, so it's stop down. You can see the settings at the top, 20mm, 20mm. So let's take a look at the center. Okay, so not a huge difference, to be honest here. The 20 is a little bit sharper here. Let's go out to the corner. Here, I'd say the kit lens almost looks a little bit better, but it's pretty much a wash. Let's take a look at the lower corner here. The colors are the exact same. Tough to say, the 20mm looks a little bit better, but not by much. This corner, 20 slightly, but you can tell the difference between these two lenses is very, very slight. Nowhere near the difference that we were seeing between the Rokinon and the 20mm. So the kit lens and the 20mm Pancake, I have to conclude, perform almost identically. So that is it for the side-by-side comparison. What's interesting to me is that both of these lenses, the Rokinon and the Sony, are basically the exact same price. So this is a very fair comparison from the point of price and focal length. One has manual focus only, one has autofocus, one's smaller, one's larger, one's faster, one's slower. But this was an interesting comparison to see. So let's start by talking about the Sony 20mm. Now the Sony 16mm Pancake I was not impressed with. This 20mm is a little bit sharper. So it is a good lens if you just need something that's super compact and you can live with the slightly softer image. It's expensive, it doesn't have optical steady shot, yeah, it has autofocus, but there aren't very many selling points for this lens. Honestly, I'm a bit disappointed, especially seeing the performance difference between this and this Rokinon. And then when I compared it to the kit lens, there's almost no noticeable difference. Everyone has a kit lens, or most of you have a kit lens lying around. This is a $150 lens, and if it performs as well as this 20mm lens does at 20mm, what's the point of having this? It's not that much smaller. You're losing optical stabilization by going to this lens. So basically, I don't know why people would go out and buy this lens. I would not recommend it. There are better ways to spend $350. That's it. The Rokinon lens is very nice. I was impressed with the way it performed, wide open. The colors on this thing are better than the Sony colors. The build quality is good. I found that using it out in the field, I didn't really care that it was slightly plasticky feeling. It just felt like a nice, secure, well-built lens. Focusing was very easy. My overall experience with this lens has been very good. In fact, I had my wife look through the pictures that I took of her, and she didn't even know which lens I was using, but she pointed out all of the ones that she liked more, and every single one that she pointed to was shot with this 21mm lens. So Rokinon really has done a good job with this lens. I am glad that I came across it on Amazon and decided to pick it up and compare it. I'm looking forward to using this in upcoming comparisons because I think it can beat out a lot of other lenses. It's really, really good. So definitely recommend you check this lens out. I was impressed by it. As long as you're okay with manually focusing, this is a great lens. And to be honest, at 21mm, it's pretty easy to manually focus a lens. It's when you get into those 85mm portrait type lenses where manual focus really becomes a little bit more challenging. So this is the obvious winner in this comparison, and I have to say I'm not surprised by it. I am disappointed, but not surprised that this lens won. So this Sony is leaving the lens collection. I will be selling this, so goodbye. This thing is gonna stay. And that is going to be it for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of the likes, comments, and support. If you have any questions about either one of these lenses or you have any experience using them, please post down below. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.